impact. So one of the AI company CEOs that I met with recently, his best case scenario is that we have a Chernobyl scale disaster.
This is one of the CEOs of one of the public AI companies.
Yep.
That's his best hope.
His
hope. A warning shot of Chernobyl proportions.
Yeah. So for those in the audience who may not remember Chernobyl, that was a 1986 nuclear meltdown that took place in Ukraine. You can watch. There's a very good 5-part quasi-documentary series about it, which is quite harrowing.
It's so good. Here's the insane part. So like, these guys are saying this stuff and continuing to do the work. It's maddening. It's insane. It's like, no, if you believe the work you're doing is going to cause a Chernobyl scale thing, which, once the Chernobyl scale thing happens, all that's going to do is change the words that come out of their mouth. Like, let's stop developing this, or let's set some standards, some guardrails. They could say those words now.
Maybe governments would intervene. And, actually what happened after Chernobyl was that the global nuclear industry was wiped out. So it went, it went from something like 50 new nuclear reactors every year to approximately 0.
Yes.
And many countries banned nuclear power and actually undid their nuclear programs. Fukushima was another nail in the coffin. So it's clear from the history of many, many industries that unless you have safety, you don't get the benefits. And this idea that we constantly see is that there's some kind of trade-off, that if you take more risk, you'll get more benefits. No. Look at what happened with Boeing. They took more risk. With the 737 MAX, they bypassed regulation. They bypassed certification of the airworthiness of this new system. They killed 346 people. It cost them $80 billion, and it ceded U.S. leadership in commercial aviation to the Europeans. So they didn't get the benefits. They just got screwed. And with nuclear power, we didn't get the benefits of nuclear power.
Right.
Because nuclear power basically stopped happening.
Right. How do the Andreessens, the industrialists, the guys who are trying to make all this money off this thing, not understand that their future profits are directly tied to safety? That if bad things happen to people with their product is going to be curtailed. Their profits are going to be reduced. It seems that a case I've literally been making this week to a lot of people who believe in the upside of AI is, if you believe in the acceleration case, you want to make those profits, you need to hedge your bet and protect it with safety investment.
Of course. Let's face it, in the long run, there's either going to be safe AI or no AI, right? There is not a future with powerful, unsafe AI and human beings.
Right.
So that branch doesn't matter. From the point of view of your investment strategy, ignore that branch, right? The only branches are the no AI branch and the safe AI branch. So you should be investing, right, in probably the safe AI branch. So this, I think there's a kind of a, it's almost like a sort of psychotic belief system where people have got in their heads that regulation, they think of it as sort of like regulation kills everything. It's the end of the world if there's regulation.
Yeah.
But, and so this pessimism around regulation, not just in the international sphere, but in the domestic sphere.
Yeah.
I was just talking this morning, as I mentioned, with Francis Fukuyama, and he was saying, the U.S. is just allergic to regulation. Really? I look out the window, every building here has to pass building codes. Our roads are very regulated in terms of road markings and stop signs. In fact, driving in the US is much more regulated than it is in most European countries, where they don't have nearly as many stop signs, and it's much more freewheeling the way we drive in other countries compared to the US. And that's one of the reasons why we're able to have Waymos driving around in San Francisco, because it's a very well regulated driving environment. And we regulate medicines very well in the US, so it may be the safest part of the world for taking a medicine and knowing that it's not going to kill you. Which is not, there's a lot of other countries rely on the US. They wait for the US to approve a medicine before then they will approve it in their own country. So we are not allergic to regulation, and we benefit enormously from having safe drinking water, reasonably safe air travel, safe roads, safe buildings, safe elevators. Safe food. We're pretty good at making sure that our food is safe, and we've had bad experiences, and a famous one that was something called the Jake leg during Prohibition. Some bright spark decided to sell a high alcohol patent medicine, because you could still sell medicines, and you could put alcohol in these medicines so people could get drunk without having to break the law. And they found a way of flavoring this Jamaica ginger stuff with something cheaper, and 400,000 people were paralyzed by that. That's when you add in the modern litigation environment, that would be tens of trillions of dollars, probably a bit more than the whole GDP of the US in liability, right? And so with these kinds of events, we realize that lack of regulation is a disaster, and that we benefit from a regulated environment. Unfortunately, what happens is it becomes invisible, right? We just go to the drugstore, we buy a medicine, or we get a prescription, and it works, and it doesn't kill.
Nothing happens, and you don't think anything of it. Yeah,
and we don't think that how much work is going on in the background, right? We turn on the tap and water comes out, we drink it. You can go to many other countries where you can't do that.
Yeah,
either brown sludge comes out, or if you drink it, you're probably going to end up at the doctor's.
Right.
So you boil it and so on. And